fuck every time I start recording my goddamn nose? What the fuck is that about? That shit is weird. I'm just chilling, man, no problem. As soon as I start recording that shit, my fucking nose get itching. What the fuck is going on with that shit? I get on the spiritual hotline. Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? What's going on here? Yeah. So yeah, man, we back, man. We gonna kick this off, man. First and foremost, man, I wanna let me start out by saying, fuck for the girls. I know girls are sensitive. If you're a man, you gotta get the fuck over it. I need a buff jaw. I don't wanna be going. If you got that was a joke. Women all want the girls. I know the girls are sensitive shit. Well, let me give you a better example with the Gap tooth thing. Yeah, I think you do have women, real women who have. Because I was going to say that you got to. That's why I went over to the Gaps tooth thing, but really, I had to bring it back. Is a good way to start out. Now, so I'm not saying there ain't women out there who may have a strong looking jaw or some shit like that. Because, like I say, the Bible is right about this shit. We are in a time where some men, when they say you won't be able to tell man from woman and woman from man, that was some prophetical shit. Don't take my word for it. Look around, this motherfucker. You have to be extra careful. Shit, but yeah. So, just like me, for example, I have my eyelashes and my eyebrows and shit have a feminine touch to it. Cause people used to tell me and my mama was twins, right? Therefore, people call me and my mama twins and say we look just alike. Which is why I always got a thing for like when I see women with sons that look like their mother, it always does something to me for some reason. I mean, it always reminds me of me and my mama. That's my mama. So what the fuck was this nigga in the building? It's about the third time I said some shit about the leader the other day. Some shit on my damn altar started moving because it's building. Yeah. But anyway, and like I told you that story about shorty, I was the young chick, the 18-year-old chick that I was talking to at the restaurant I worked at or whatever. Think about that shit too. That shit was it was a Philly cheesesteak factory place. So what's going on? What the fuck going on with Philly? It's not Philly shit going on. But her mother was like, ask him. Her mother told her to ask me, where do I get my eyebrows waxed at? That's not man shit. I'm saying that for a reason. You'll see why I might get to the rest of the story. But but I can understand why she said that, because that's probably that part of my mom and shit. So in so many words, everybody can look like their mother or their father, which means you don't even have to do no fucking. That's why I always tell niggas, when I'm saying get in touch with your feminine side, I'm not talking about no gay shit. I'm not talking about putting on no dress. I'm not talking about putting on no fucking earrings. I'm not talking about none of that shit. If I tell you to do that shit, I tell you to go knit or some shit, stitch. That's feminine shit. But at the same time, you won't look gay necessarily. It's odd. That's why you see certain movies. I forgot what movie it was, but it was a movie with Bruce Willis, where he he was doing stay-at-home mom shit or some shit, and the woman was going out. Sometimes I can't remember, it's been a while. But he was like cooking and shit with a fucking the woman apron on and shit and stitching and shit or whatever. Now, to another train, you like, oh man, that's just some gay shit. Woo, woo. And I was like, nah, I just seen what the movie. That's what the movie was trying to show you. Him tapping into his feminine side, but it was just an extreme kind of version of it, or whatever. I'm not telling you have to do none of that shit. I tell you simple shit like learning how to shut the fuck up in your own mind and listen when a nigga talk, cause a lot of niggas can't do that. Cause the masculine side, they predominantly a lot of women can't either. But to speak and talking is masculine because you're emitting or giving off. The woman receives, the man gives off. So to receive is to shut the fuck up, listen, and draw in information when somebody's talking to you. So just simply learning how to do that, learn how to sit in silence and listen. Even when you're reading shit. Even me, when I'm reading shit, sometimes I'll be reading some shit but thinking about something else. The reading is the feminine part, trying to absorb the information. I'll have to constantly tell myself to shut the fuck up and stop thinking about some shit or thinking so I have to read some shit about 4 or 5 times because I done read it, but the other shit that I'm thinking about is in the way of what the fuck I'm trying to intake with the fucking reading or whatever. So you do this shit simply by learning how to shut the fuck up, meditating, and all that shit. Meditation is a form of getting in touch with your feminine side. You got to silence the mind and listen to whatever, or just silence in the mind, because silence, darkness, and all that shit is feminine. You don't have to do no gay shit. You don't have to take that. You have to come out and kiss a nigga on the fucking lips and shit. You don't have to do that or whatever. But just like the girl mother said that. So I'm trying to say what the mother thing is. You are androgynous. Anyway, even if you don't want to be, because you have something of your mother, and some type of, even if it's just the fact you have your mother's DNA in you, that's androgyny. So I don't want to hear the shit. You know. So when you looking at me, I look just like my mama. Yeah, that's your feminine side. Your father shit is your masculine side. That's comfortable and shit. So what I'm saying is, you do have some women who are still pretty or still look good, but it might be some masculine shit going on with it. But it's so fucked up these days because you fuck around and meet her, you see a chick and she might look good, but then she might hit an angle. You're like, oh, that jaw, or that nose. It might be some masculine shit popping out. It might not be to the point to where it's a deal breaker, but living in today's time, it's a fucking flag raiser. You be like, oh, but then you be, ask me, I'm a gentleman, so that shit happen to me. You be like, damn, I could put it like this. This is what I'm trying to say, man. Fuck this shit. Since girls y'all are all comfortable and cool with all this gay shit, which I ain't knocking nobody either, do you think? But since y'all so cool with Training USA and all this shit, let's put it like this. Now, since these are the times we living in, if you a fucking girl and you got some shit that's questionable, you shouldn't be. We don't want to hear that shit about, oh my God, he thinks so. But nigga, just have to ask you, hey man, you ain't a man, are you? You know, you look good and shit, but we don't want you to take no chances. As a gentleman, it's hard to do that because you know how women are. You ask a fucking woman like that, average woman gonna probably go home and cry and shit and think she's ugly and all this shit. And that ain't necessarily the case. But we living in some crazy times now. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So that's why I say I think it should be some fucking for everybody. There should be some shit somewhere. Neckline, something. You get that special. You special now. You just a motherfucker out here dressing up and shit. You know, nigga just gotta I think one. I think once somebody go to their doctor get that shit cut off, that doctor should say, well, we have to put something on you to indicate that you once was a fucking man, so you won't be out here fucking over people, or whatnot, tricking men and then scorning men and shit, nigga, and you know, it's all anyway. But yeah, we'll get back to that because that pertains to something later on down the line and shit too. So we won't go too far into that. Put the horse too fuck the cart too far before the horse, too far before the horse. But anyway, so but let me draw it back. Anyway, where the fuck was I going with that? But let me just get back to the main line. Anyway, some shit is not manly, and some shit is, you know. I'm gonna show you something. It was around this time, 1993. Around this time, a little bit before school started. Now I'm not talking about little boys and shit either, because, you know, they get a pass, kids and shit. But when I was coming up, there was a song called "She Wears Short Shorts." That's exactly what she wears short shorts. Nowadays, or a couple years ago, niggas was on some he wears short shorts type shit. And what I'm trying to say is that we're not talking about at the beach or you at SeaWorld and shit, swimming, whatever. Oh, that's another thing I want to say too. You niggas, that's how I know we see. Let me make sure. Let me write this shit down so I don't forget where I'm at. Shorts. Yeah, but I seen they was doing concerts at SeaWorld now or some shit. And then I saw some stupid guy commenting on it like, what is that about? That's stupid. Or something. He had a nigga I was like, no motherfucker, you a fucking Johnny come lately. Six Flags used to always do that. We used to have they need to bring that shit back. Well, we don't have no Six Flags no more. But anyway, Six Flags, Astro World, and all this Magic Mountain and shit. They used to have that shit. They used to have concerts at Six Flags and shit. So a fucking concert at SeaWorld. I forgot who was performing. It was I think it was some R&B singers that at this particular time. But no, that's a fucking thing. It's been a thing. It just died out. They stopped doing it. But that's been a thing. That was a fucking thing and shit. You know, and that guy's a fucking. I don't say no man, but he's always on the fucking side of the motherfucker who he's always on the fucking side of the guy who's a fucking sellout. He don't, you know. Anyway, man, I don't even too dang. That's a bullshit guy. But anyway, yeah. So that's the thing. When you at SeaWorld and shit with your short trunks on in the swimming pool, that's different. You know, you're swimming and shit. We get that. But as far as that above the knee shit, as a fashion statement, I'm telling you, I don't want to hear the bullshit. I've seen some of you folks niggas that supposed to be hardcore gangsters, 2 hours, and you busting your iron and you fucking all that gangster shit niggas was talking. That's why I know you niggas will go for anything. As soon as you see 4 or 5 other niggas that's supposed to be cool doing, you know, I'm good, man. Come on. You niggas walking around with little ass shorts on. They wasn't tight, but I'm gonna show you something. Now I'm at the fucking bus stop. It was around this time, a little bit before school started. Now, that's why I say, you know, as kids, we ain't talking about little kids and shit. That's different, you know. You know, you expect that from the kids wearing short sets and shit, small shorts, whatever, and tank, you know, the short set thing, the tank top and the shorts or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? That. That's what I was. But I had, this I know was a thing, because it was just an epiphany. I don't know what the fuck came over me that day, or whatever. That morning, I put the shit on, but I, no problem, put it on and walking. But I went to the bus stop, and you know, I was like, well, it was about 10. Like I said, I was if you look at it, how the fuck did he catch the bus at 10? I know y'all a little more sensitive these days, but no, when I was growing up, we was, like I said, me and my niggas was adventurous little niggas. We was, you know, I was a latchkey kid, so my old man worked from sundown to sun up. So we pretty much just doing what we want to do. Going and coming as we please and into the what the fuck I end up at. Yeah, we walking miles. We used to go out and walk. I'll say, we used to go out and just, we was on, like, this is where, and that's natural shit. This is where you get stories like Tom Sawyer and, or David Crockett was a man, all grown, but Tom Sawyer, and I'm trying to think of other kid adventure stories from back in the game. So y'all probably don't know about no fucking Tom Sawyer. But, or at least this generation. But that's where that shit comes from. That's why we used to do that. We didn't want to just sit there. We had video games and shit too. But that shit eventually, we got tired of that shit. We'd play video games. We'd get up in the morning and play video games about 12. And then niggas be like, man, let's go outside, bro, and do something. I don't know, walk to the fucking somewhere. We used to just walk for the hell of it, just to see what we'd run into. Just walk. So catching the bus and all that shit wasn't no fucking, you know, we was young niggas doing that shit. So I'm at the bus stop, going to one of my own bus stops, I think. Yeah, that was the only place I could really think of I was going. So I'm at the bus stop, right down Bissonnette. Because it's the one right there by the fucking Chimmy Chance. If not, it was the one across from the fair. I think it was the one by Chimmy Chance. And shit. So, but I had one of them, you know, this just was tight. Yeah, the kids, you having the, both of these shorts to be tight, you know, them little short sets or whatever. But I'm 10 years old, and I'm sitting at the bus stop, and I look down, and I look at them shorts, bro, and I say, you know what? Something isn't right here. I don't like that shit. I felt it. For some reason, I felt I didn't have no problem. But put them on that morning, walk to the bus stop and all that shit, no problem. For some reason, when I was was on business at that bus stop, I looked down, and this ain't nothing to do with no whole. I wasn't even on no thug nigga shit yet. I was listening to the Chronic and all that shit. And, well, that was pretty much the only thing. I was like the Chronic and crisscross and shit. They didn't have nothing to do with it. It ain't have nothing to do with it. He was thinking he was a thug. No, I wasn't even on no thug nigga shit. Yeah, I was just still a kid. I looked at him short. I say, man. I say, God, something ain't right about this shit. I'm telling you, and this ain't got nothing to do with it either. Because this, like I said, I'm telling you, this is before I got into the thug nigga shit. Because in Houston, we used to call above the knee shorts hoe shorts. And I'm not talking about hoe, you know, the man hoe. You know, I'm talking about the hoe girl shorts. We used to say them hoe shorts. You know, your shit was too short. You know, man, you got on hoe shorts, bro. Take that shit off. You know, and this ain't even there. So yeah, anyway, but this is before that. This is before we even I even got to the lifestyle with that, you know, into that type of lingo and shit. So it ain't like I look down and say, oh my God, these are hoe shorts. No, it was, I went from a kid, you know, the kid got on some little shorts and shit. You don't give a fuck, he was a kid. I went from that shit that morning to that evening, I was like, oh. It was like I went from the kid, you know, to the, like I doubled up or some shit within 4 hours or some shit. By the time I got to that bus stop, I said, you can do it to each his own, you can wear what you want to wear. Just like I say with the suits and shit, I'm not telling you don't wear suits, or I'll look down on you, or fuck you because you wear suits. I'm not saying that. You know, I'm quite sure there's a lot of people watching this shit that I probably like as a person, but they wear suits and shit, whatever. I don't want to, this shit keep freezing up. I don't want to make it, I don't want you to think I'm dissing you. I'm just trying to not prove a point, but just trying to illustrate a point. But whatever, I don't know to this day, but something came over me. I was cool that morning. Got to that bus stop, looked down at them shorts. So they was OPP. It was a Naughty by Nature short set. Tank OPP tank top shorts and shit. Black. I'll never forget it. All black, white trimming. Man, I looked out them shorts, bro. This shit no more. I don't know what it was. Something like I just felt uncomfortable. I'm talking about out of the blue. I was cool until I got to that bus. I got to that bus stop. Now, I think it had something to do with sitting on that main line. Because, you know, Bissonnet is the main street and shit. So I'm sitting at that bus stop, these little ass shorts on. I'm like, I went from a big guy, but yeah, I made a little shot. I said, man, I never wear no shit like this again. And I don't know, ain't nobody tell me nothing. I wasn't doing it because I was like, well, the older guys are going to look at me a certain way. This ain't gangster. I wasn't into none of that shit yet. I was still playing with toys and shit. Ninja Turtles and all that. So it ain't had nothing to do. And still was playing with it. Even after I discarded that look of that wear, I still was playing the toys and shit. So it ain't had nothing to do with no fucking, he's going into his gangster or something. No, he ain't got nothing to do with that shit. Because I was still doing kid shit after that. But them fucking shorts, I was like, So when I saw you niggas start wearing them little ass shorts about 4 years ago, now they wasn't tight. They was loose and shit, but they was still too far above the knee to my liking. So I start seeing that shit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I seen a lot of you niggas wearing. I'm talking about niggas. I ain't talking about the new wave niggas either. I'm talking about I seen niggas from my era, so-called OG niggas wearing shit, gangsters. And I said, bro, you went for that? So I said, but you gotta watch these niggas. Believe it or not, bro. Nah, I don't know that. Anyway, yeah, man. I just thought I would share that. I've been wanting to share that story for a minute. But I always told myself I'm gonna share it around the same time I had the fucking revelation. This ain't the end of the summer. That's another thing. You niggas be thinking when the kids go back to school, that's the end of the summer. No, summer is June to July, July to August, August to September. The system got it all crazy with the way they send niggas back. People used to go back to school in September, originally, when the summer was actually over. So now when kids go back to school, niggas think summer is over because the kids are going back. It's all fucked up. Whatever. Anyway, but yeah, anyway, man, I just wanted to tell that story, bro, because certain shit is just man shit. And so I don't just, and maybe even if you jogging or some shit, but I'm not even doing that. You jogging and shit. Hell no. Now I got, like my shorts over there right now, they pretty much, when I got them, they pretty much below the knee or half. These just some shit to back and forth to the store really, and I do videos on them or whatever, but I ain't going over. That ain't like I'm, but the motherfuckers, I think they kind of shrunk since I washed them and shit, but they still ain't all above the knee and shit. But, it's just some shit to throw on, whatever. Yeah, man. That's the other niggas wearing these shit. It's like a fashion statement. But each his own, bro. And I'm just really this jokes and shit. Oh yeah, that's what I was trying to get to in the other before I got to jump to this. But I was trying to say the thing about when I was making a joke about the gap too. If you ain't got a ladies, a nigga don't know how to get over it. I don't know what the fuck to tell them. Man, but I know girls are sensitive. I don't think, I was thinking, oh my God, I got a gap. Let me go get it. I like the first two women I ever teamed, just put it like that, considered my girl. First two women I took relationship serious with had gaps and shit. So shit kind of cute to me to a certain degree. Well, it's not to a certain degree, it's cute to me, but I always like girls with gaps and shit, just in case you was wondering. That was just a joke I was, ranking on my partner with and shit. So, I don't want you. I know how girls are sensitive looking in the mirror, oh my gap, oh my God. Y'all sensitive about everything and shit. Some of you motherfuckers be fine and the motherfuckers still talking, I'm dead and all that whole shit. Oh, I'm hungry, bitch, shut up. This stupid ass find all outdoors and still got. That's how you know y'all are greedy. Motherfucking girl can be look good the motherfucker and still be thinking something wrong. You be like, bitch, you don't think you look good enough. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker's crazy. But anyway, let's get back to this here, man. I just want to say that, man, 'cause I know women are sensitive shit and shit. You know, if you a man with a gap, I don't know what to tell you. Get over it, motherfucker. I ain't here to assault you niggas. you know. What up? What you did, man? So your boy said, Dorian, he said, all minorities outside of whites, their main objective was to live and look as good as white people. And that's because, in so many words, coming out of post-slavery, we'll just keep it here between slavery and post-slavery. Now, subconsciously speaking, you will identify by us being in a position of being poverty-stricken, or even worse, being slaves. When you look out into the world and you see that, when you look out into the world and you see, yeah. So anyway, what I was saying was, the reason why it's like that is because well, consciously and subconsciously, you associating white people with wealth, right, or survival, because they were thriving and you were barely surviving. Therefore, everything they did, you associated it to some degree with. You looked at it and said, "Well, I want to live wealthy, or I want to live beyond just the way we live right now. I want to have a type of." Well, you associated him with freedom. So you got to think about it. Pre-slavery, we had our own culture. After so many generations, people start coming into this world, and the only people they seen living free were white people. To whatever, man, that's a little blurry because now you start doing real deep dive. This is just, I'm giving you some shit you start getting deep into a deep dive into history. You start hearing about shit like, well, you had niggas over here who wasn't slaves and they're still living good, and it just gets all, we just keep it within the American context or whatever, American history context. You look at, you come into this world, and the only people you see really living free is white people. So your mind starts to say, well, you associate freedom with how they live and what they do. You look at your skin, and the only thing you see your people doing is picking cotton and hoeing gardens and basically serving white people. So, and not even counting the Willie Lynch shit that they was intentionally doing to the mind, but just the subconscious mind. Because they was doing shit too to reinforce what your mind would naturally do, which is look and say, well, I guess in order to survive this world, I have to do shit white people do, or do it how the white man do it, because he's doing it and thriving, and what we doing is all we doing is picking cotton and shit. So that would naturally make motherfuckers want to be white. Well, not naturally, but there's probably a lot of people who. So when you go into post-slavery, when you start seeing people who want to be white, or or close to white people as they can, they very well may come from a stock or DNA of people who or just basically since they identify, because who the fuck doesn't want to live a nice life? But so people who want to live a nice life, they don't know no better, who can't differentiate, they looking at white people like, well, I don't want to be, they may want to be white because they associate white with living free as opposed to getting your ass whooped on a plantation or some shit. So you go from slavery, that's where the whole house nigga thing and all that shit come from. But you go from slavery, then you go into post-slavery. When you look up and see him running the world and shit and being the fucking, doing whatever they do, and they say, well, we're gonna give y'all slowly but surely. Well, when they take the chains off of your fucking hands and your feet, they waited though. Like I said, they studied us. They mentally programmed us to be mental slaves. So they had to do that with the Woody Lynch, with the whole Woody Lynch thing. About, I'm gonna fuck up my book in, man. Yeah. So once they got confident enough to say, you know what, the object of this mind control operation that we were running on these people, the object of it was to set this shit up to where when we finally let them go, they'll be so duped by this pseudo white supremacy shit and think we are the man to so much to where we don't even have to watch it. Their shit will be on auto. Their just mental enslavement will be on autopilot, and we don't have to worry about them too much. You always had the revolutionaries. You always had revolutionary people. They work on everything. The autopilot. It's always somebody that comes and like, this is bullshit. That is whatever. So it's not. It ain't 100% sure shot. But for the most part, they knew they let niggas off of slavery, and not only would you not be opposed to them, you would want to be with them because they had all the fucking bread and butter and shit. So you would betray your own people just to partake of the life that the white man was living because of the oppressor. Because you had poor white people too. Don't get rid of. That's why I always differentiate. You had crackers, the whip crackers, the blood suckers. But most of the time, the motherfuckers that was really the slave, what we call slave masters, them really was like lowly motherfuckers that was, they had motherfuckers they had to look to, who you didn't probably really see too much. They was just running the plantation and the workers and shit. The motherfuckers that was over them would be all the way out the way. They would just be, buffers and shit. But so now let's get going more in the but they pretty much had not put it in a nutshell. They pretty much was confident enough to say, you know what, this shit is on autopilot. Now we can let them out slowly and not have to worry about it too much. But you've always had. There's always been certain rebel rousers within the fucking race, though. It ain't just every nigga. There's always been somebody, whether it be Nat Turner or Haiti, shout out to Danny Petro. That's a deity, but something over and all them niggas, for whatever they, which is really, a lot of that energy was New Orleans and Louisiana. Which is why they probably pretty much keep a heavy hand on New Orleans and shit, the niggas in Louisiana in general. But that's probably why New Orleans was so impoverished, because they knew them niggas is the descendants of the fucking motherfuckers who was fighting the Haiti Revolution. They are the slaves or they are the slaves who the French got ran from out of Haiti. They are the slaves. They are the descendants of the slaves who came over here with the French slave masters or whatever. So the white people look at that like the oppressor look at that like an energy. They're like, well, them niggas got that Haitian energy, and they was over there kicking our ass with magic. That's why voodoo and shit is all entrenched in nigga culture down there. But now we going in the post-slavery. He said to live and look as good as white people, everybody objective. Every media from TV to film is all we had at first. So, basically they created a system where when they started locking these different opportunities and started slowly absorbing you or letting you come into their or letting you come into their way of life or slowly start basically in so many words they set up a society where if you wanted the more you in order to thrive financially, the more you the more you acted like them, the closer you would get to thriving financially or whatever. So, you wanna be down with us. You have to play your best rendition of the white man or white people or whatever, or what they deem proper culture or whatever. So you have to look, dress, talk, walk like them. That's why I say when Q said, go listen to True to the Game, you'll see that perfect example of what I'm talking about. Which this is why people with you have people who basically want to be white. Nowadays it's a little different because you see black people thriving and you can pretty much do things. You pretty much have more freedom, or it's easier for you to make a living independent of white people or whatever. Internet era age. You got black people who you got real niggas that's thriving and making strides financially or whatever, or end up in the work industry or whatever. To a certain degree, it's still fucked up too. Don't get it twisted. I see shit on the daily, but take corporate America for example, because that's what we associated the suit and tie thing. And get back into that. Perfect example. You want to, we associate that with good jobs and all that old shit, whatever. If you don't, you can't go in there and be your natural self. So you have to speak proper being what they consider grammatically correct. You have to dress uptight. White people are more uptight than us. That's why you have the suit. You have to wear the suit. Everybody got to look the same, and everything got to be uniform. You know, you might not have to have the same color suits, but everything got to be a suit. Uh, uh, and then you have to think like them. The more and more you do all these things in commission of trying to thrive and get ahead, the more and more you start to really buy into that shit to one degree or another. So, uh, eventually, if you're not strong-minded, you'll find yourself buying into that shit and looking down on your own people. Um, so he said every media from TV to film is all we had at first. And then that's the main tool that they use to program you to be more like them. So it's basically saying we don't mind y'all making strides long as you pledge your allegiance to us via your actions, the way you show us that you are one of us in blackface by the way you talk, walk, everything. You have to show us that you really buy into who we are and want to be like us. That's why niggas want to. That's why you know. And sometimes niggas be doing shit don't even know that they are manifesting a form of behavior which has its origin in trying to be like white people or wanting to be white or trying to be like white people. And like I said, not even just white people you're oppressed. Like I said, you got white guys that don't that the same shit I'm speaking against. It's not even white. I'm not separating what I call crackers, regular white people, for the sake of trying to save face. No, I'm saying this shit because it's a difference. Because you have certain white people who know, who understand that the system is corrupt and fucked up and it's not for anybody. And they don't give a fuck. That's why you hear them say, you know, they be like, fuck with me. Or like Bobby Brown say, don't get me wrong, I'm really not a suit. You said I'm not no fucking uptight person, executive that's anti-nigga, and because your culture, they don't fuck with your culture. That's why I can't go and get a corporate job. I can go in there and speak intelligent as I want to be, but if I go in there like this, they gonna be like, we ain't fucking with that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a threat. And I might be the best man for the job. But the fact that I don't want to think like them, I can go in there and get you can go, that's why I be saying all this shit is superficial. The outer layer, if you really want to just get down. Now I get it, don't get me wrong. You don't want nobody at your fucking job. You know, you don't want no motherfucking secretary at your place of business with her titties and shit all like and some whole shorts on and shit. I get that, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, you know, motherfuckers, it should be a sense of professionalism, but true professionalism comes from a mentality. So I shouldn't there's too much emphasis put on dress code. That's what I'm basically saying. It's just one aspect of it. But when you say to live and look as good as white people was the main objective, part of the reason that is because they made it to where the more you did that, the more you lived and looked like the more you live and looked, or the better you was at living and looking like white people, the easier it was for you to thrive financially and obtain food, clothing, and shelter. And they subconsciously program you with this shit through media, TV, and film. Because like I said, believe it or not, just black people having black people having TV shows and networks, which really are not niggas. They put black face on that shit, but niggas don't be on that shit. Or even if they do, it's just like black clothing lines and shit. That's why black clothing lines don't never last, because they always let that shit go for a minute and then they force the nigga to sell it. And then when the niggas sell it, they run the shit down and get it out of here. The whole point of them buying it is not to keep it going. They'll buy the shit just to keep this shit from becoming like a black version of Gucci and all that shit. They'll buy the shit just to do away with it, because money is nothing to these people. That's money just means shit to you. These motherfuckers run the fucking world, so they ain't worried about no fucking $1 billion and all that shit. Just buy the shit. Yeah, sell us the shit, or we'll kill you. Or you don't want to sell it, they'll fuck you over and take the shit just to get rid of it. So it won't be no fucking black version of Versace or some shit, or Gucci, or whatever the fuck y'all niggas think is the live shit up. Well, that's why you ever notice why that shit, I always like, why the fuck nigga shit don't never last? That shit be around for a minute, and next thing you know, it's on to the next one with some niggas. That's by design. But believe it or not, black people being the presence of black people being as prevalent as it is on TV and film is really a relatively speaking, a recent phenomenon. But really, in the grand scheme of things, television and shit itself is a fucking recent phenomenon. That shit is, you go look up when the first TV came out or some shit like that. I bet you that shit was like 1940 or some shit. It was in the 1900s or whatever. That ain't that long ago if you're really looking at this shit in the grand scheme of things. In the first 40, 50 years of television and shit and film, niggas wasn't doing nothing but, if you did see, you didn't see niggas in movies and shit. But if you did, they were in a subservient position. Like I said, Hattie McDaniels, the mammy and shit, or you'll see a nigga serving tea or some shit. He'd be, they'd be seeing a bunch of white people at the table eating dinner, and the fucking butler would be a nigga, and he'll come and so much so, he'll come and no tea, sir, and all this old shit, putting the cup down, and he get his ass out the way. Or his nigga, you barely even see the nigga in the background. That shit was, they gradually started coming up with letting black people into Hollywood and shit like that. So once upon a time, all you seen was when you come on your TV was white people. You didn't see. Just like he said earlier in the, just like he said earlier in the documentary. He said people like Lena Horne was stigmatized, or black stars were stigmatized. Everybody wanted to be like Marilyn Monroe, and she was the standard of beauty and all this shit. That's by design. They didn't even want even if you was a black woman and you was too beautiful, that would work against you, because they'd be like, nah, the white woman is the most beautiful, but this bitch is beautiful as fuck. If we put her in the light, that's going to ruin our pseudo white supremacy shit, because we're trying to make these people believe that we're the greatest. But if we have somebody that can rival our greatest in beauty, it's going to subconsciously fuck the thing up. No. Go get that big woman and put her in the spot. This is real shit. This is how these people think. They are in a constant competition with niggas. Like I said, I can even remember when commercials, bro. Like I said, all this shit you think, rapping, hip hop and fucking commercials and shit. This is a recent phenomenon. In the early 90s, you didn't really see that shit. You really didn't. I can still remember the first time I seen a black and white couple in a commercial. This was like the late 90s. And I remember it stuck out. or whatever. Um, uh, uh, what else? Even just hip hop at the fucking Grammys. That's recent. Early '90s, nigga. They was boycotting the fucking Grammys because the Grammys didn't respect nigga culture, which is hip hop. MTV, Mike had to fight it. Mike, this nigga is the fucking greatest entertainer of all time, arguably. You know, you just say or whatever. But this nigga had to fight just to get his shit on MTV. And this is the fucking 80s and the 90s. This is when it is niggas, you know, on TV and movies and shit. Black exploitation and shit that already came and was on its way out the door and whatever. This is at a time where, so that mentality, the mentality that Mike was fighting against to get on MTV was residual of what the fuck I'm telling you about. The whole keeping niggas out of the fucking light of entertainment, or keeping niggas off the movie screen, or if they all on the movie screen, put them in some type of subservient position, consciously or subconsciously, or hit them with the black facilitation for white development thing, which is always have them in a, even if they the star of a fucking movie, make sure that they're doing something to help a white person. So it'll be a movie where the nigga is the star, but his whole goddamn thing is he's saving the day to help a white person do some shit. He's saving a white person or some shit, or saving a white girl or some shit like that. All this type of shit. All this is programmed. What else? So then he said everybody in the commercials are in their homes. Now it kind of stuck out when he said that because it took me back to the commercial thing, and I'm like, yeah, he got a point because everybody in the commercials in their home, but for the most part, most of the commercials you've seen with white people, you didn't see it. I'm telling you this, you go look at it, a whole lot of old commercials and shit. Niggas was not in them. You see the commercial, motherfucking Mazda commercial where a nigga pulling up in the white, pulling up in the house with the white picket fence and shit. And all these, this was all white people. If you looked at, put it like this, if you looked at TV and if you looked at TV, or if a motherfucker was from another planet looking at TV, in those days, you wouldn't even know niggas existed. You would think the world was all white because that's all you seen was white people. And even Bobby spoke on that. He said, I think it was a movie where he said, was it a movie? What the fuck was that? But he said, I don't know if he seen the movie. He said the reason why it used to be like that. It used to. I'm kind of butchering it, but it was something along the lines of this. But he said the reason why it used to be like that. He said because really, in the future they didn't boom. He was like they goal was for you not to even be here. So by not showing you on TV and movie was a way of them saying you motherfuckers don't exist, or in the world we were trying to get to. And I'm not saying all white, I'm just saying this is the programming. What they were trying to say was the world we trying to get to is a world where you niggas don't exist. And this is why I come home from jail and look around and see the lack of niggas relative in relation to how it was before I got locked up. Because they didn't really kill niggas out here. But everybody going on with this. So when you so trapped and trying to survive, or you so trapped in just doing your own thing, if you're not a conscious individual, if you're not into this type of information, if you're not Black power, we just take it back to the 90s and shit. You not 80s and all that shit, whatever, the past. If you didn't come from some type of, you didn't have some spark of consciousness about yourself or some understanding that these people are trying to kill you or don't like you or whatever, you just a regular old everyday Joe Blow getting up, going to work. Only thing you worry about is your own fucking existence, and you're not looking at black people that never had no sense of black collectiveness. And you would never pay this shit. You would never catch on to this shit. You won't see it because you so everybody's so occupied and what you should be not to. You should be worried about your own well-being. I'm not saying not to that, but even that, they make that so much of a fucking task to where it's hard to even you have to put so much energy into your own fucking come up or your own sustainability, which makes it that much harder to look around and say, hey, where all the niggas going? You ain't even, plus most of us based what we see out from TV. That's why I say you would think that we are really thriving to a certain degree because you looking at the shit they put on TV. Well, shit, you know, you got them showing, goddamn rappers that show running around with the Bentleys, them movie stars and shit are doing it. We moving on up. You know, even it works against you to a certain degree because you will look out to the entertainment world and see the niggas is blending with the I say we come from a time where even that shit was few and far between, relatively speaking. Black stars and shit. But you look out now and say, oh, you got niggas out there in Calabasas and shit now, and Beverly Hills. Oh, we must be moving up. That goddamn cracker, he's finally softening his heart up because more niggas the whole while. And even a lot of that shit, even a lot of them have to assimilate and start dressing, and that's why you see them in suits and shit, dressing and talking, and they're subscribing to cracker theory just to sustain them positions. So you thinking everything is getting better because you looking out into that world, and then when you come into your own world, you either trying to get there or just spending your time trying to take care of you and your family, which you should be doing. That's why but you're not paying attention to the shit that they doing to fuck us off because you just outside of getting yours and the dedication to the preservation of shaking your ass on the weekend, you don't give a fuck about nothing else. And I'm not saying you saying this conscious like I don't give a fuck. No, you just that's why it takes that's why it takes something to spark you or something or you being a part of consciousness, for lack of a better way of putting it, to you know, and it should be there. Movies like shit, just Martin Luther King and shit, the civil rights movement and all this shit. These are things that should stick with you. A lot of people went through that. A lot of people that were born in that damn time. Or shit, Malcolm X assassination, and all this old shit. This is shit that should keep you, because that's what it is for me, keep you with the mentality that it's a fucking conspiracy against us. A lot of people don't do that though. They see these movies and it goes away and they just go living. They don't think like, I see when I learned about these guys and shit and slavery and shit, it stuck to my ribs. So I was like, yeah, I'm living my life and shit. As a kid, I'm talking about I'm playing kickball and playing Nintendo and shit. I know these motherfuckers are not like us. I'm talking about as a kid. All you had to do is tell me about slavery. And I put two and two together real quick. Yep, the motherfuckers that run the world now, the descendants, that the world was passed down from the motherfuckers who was whooping our ass with slaves, with whips and quartering us and shit. Those people are the ancestors of the motherfuckers who are running this shit now. So, I don't give a fuck how many liberties we have now, as more liberties we have now in comparison to what we once had. I know these motherfuckers still running the fucking show. I'm not getting too comfortable around this bitch, and I have a mentality of fuck them. So I never trusted the fucking system. I said, all it took for me was to learn about slavery. It's a wrap. I don't trust them. I don't trust the government. I'll tell you this shit live. Fuck them. So a kid. I ain't no fucking. I had to grow. That was the foundation of the shit. To what you see now. I never forgot that. I never let trying to get minds block everything out and say, hell, man, just focus on me. No, I focus on me, but I'm still looking at the moving parts of all this shit and seeing what works for us, what doesn't. Was that meant for us? No, that wasn't. It made it seem like it did, but no, they were trying to overstand. No, that shit, man. So yeah, I'll be back, man. Send out a contract. I really want to get a little bit more detail with that part. I'll start here then, going to the next level of this shit when I come back, but I don't feel like I'm touching what I want to touch this part right here. But I'm almost through with this shit now. I got